Blake Lively had been in the industry long enough to recognize when a project carried a certain energy, that electrifying mix of potential and controversy that could either make history or destroy careers. And It Ends With Us was precisely that kind of project. From the moment she signed on to play Lily Bloom, the protagonist in the film adaptation of Colleen Hoover's wildly popular novel, The Whispers, had begun. Some questioned whether the 36-year-old Lively was the right fit for a character in her early 20s, while others speculated about the tension brewing between her and director-actor Justin Baldoni, who was not only directing the film but also starring as Ryle, the deeply flawed romantic lead. But what the public didn't know, at least not yet, was how deep that tension ran. The first cracks in the collaboration formed early. Lively, known for her meticulous approach to roles, had specific ideas about Lily's portrayal. She pushed for more depth, more nuance, a portrayal that reflected the raw, painful realities of abusive relationships rather than a glossy, melodramatic interpretation. But Baldoni, determined to balance commercial appeal with the novel's darker themes, resisted her input. The disagreements started in rehearsals, minor, almost imperceptible to outsiders. But by the time filming began, they had escalated into something more insidious, a silent war between the film's star and its director. On set, sources described a palpable chill. Scenes were shot, reshot, and scrapped entirely. Lively would arrive early, perfecting her monologues, only for Baldoni to tweak her lines at the last second. He wanted more chemistry, more romance. She wanted more grit, more reality. And as their visions clashed, so did their egos. Then came the lawsuit. Or, more accurately, the lawsuits. Because in Hollywood, when creative differences turn into all-out warfare, it's never just one legal battle, it's an avalanche. And it all started with the scene. The one that would change everything. No one on set could have predicted that one scene, one single take, would be the moment everything imploded. It was supposed to be the emotional climax of It Ends With Us, the pivotal confrontation between Lily and Ryle, a scene that required vulnerability, raw emotion, and above all, trust between the actors. Blake Lively had prepared meticulously for it, drawing from stories of real survivors, determined to bring authenticity to Lily's pain. Justin Baldoni, meanwhile, was focused on something else entirely: the look. The cinematic moment. The kind of shot that would be turned into GIFs, edited into fan videos, and splashed across every social media platform once the film premiered. So, when the cameras rolled and Lively lost herself in the scene, when she delivered a performance so gut-wrenching that even the crew members watching from behind the monitors held their breath, Baldoni did the unthinkable. He cut the scene. Mid-performance. A single, sharp cut rang through the air, shattering the spell. Lively froze, her expression still twisted in Lily's anguish. For a moment she thought she had misheard. That surely, after pouring everything into that take, he wouldn't just. But then Baldoni clapped his hands together, stepping forward. "Okay," he said, completely unfazed. "That was great, but let's try it again. This time, a little softer. We don't want Lily to look too broken." The silence that followed was suffocating. Blake Lively didn't move. Her eyes locked onto Baldoni's face, searching for some sign that he was joking, that this wasn't happening. But he wasn't joking. He was serious. And then she walked off set. No words. No yelling. Just walked away. The crew members exchanged uneasy glances. The producers, already exhausted from weeks of simmering tension, knew this wasn't something that would blow over. This was the moment the dam finally burst. Lively didn't return that day. She didn't return the next day either. And by the end of the week, a rumor began to circulate, one that had studio executives scrambling, lawyers dialing into emergency conference calls, and entertainment journalists sharpening their pens. Blake Lively wasn't just done with the film. She was suing. The first lawsuit was wrongful termination, except, technically, Lively hadn't been fired. She claimed she had been forced out, pressured into quitting after repeated instances where Baldoni had undermined her creative authority. The second was breach of contract. Lively's legal team alleged that Baldoni had made unilateral decisions that violated the terms of her agreement, decisions that altered key aspects of Lily's character without her approval. But the third? That was the one that turned a legal dispute into a full-blown Hollywood scandal. Defamation? Because while Lively had been quietly strategizing with her lawyers, Baldoni had been talking. Whispers on set. Offhand remarks during meetings. A leaked recording of a private conversation where he allegedly described Lively as difficult, uncooperative, and most damning of all, someone who didn't understand the character. For Blake Lively, an actress with a pristine reputation, these weren't just petty insults. They were career-damaging words. And she wasn't going to let them slide. Meanwhile, Baldoni wasn't backing down. Instead of settling quietly, he countersued. His claim? Interference with production, arguing that Lively's departure had cost the film millions, forcing expensive reshoots and delays that could jeopardize the entire project. The studio, caught in the middle of the crossfire, went into full damage control mode. Meetings were held behind closed doors. Lawyers pored over contracts, looking for escape clauses. And in the media? The headlines were ruthless. Behind the scenes of It Ends With Us, Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni, what really happened? And then, just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse, a bombshell dropped. A leaked email. From Justin Baldoni. One that would change everything. Hollywood scandals come in waves. Some hit the shore with a dull crash and fade away. Others? They're tsunamis. And the email? That was the tsunami. It landed in the inboxes of entertainment journalists at TMZ, Variety, and The Hollywood Reporter almost simultaneously. No one knew who leaked it, but it didn't matter. Within hours, the internet was on fire. The email, dated October 2024, was from Justin Baldoni to a senior producer at the studio, sent in the middle of the It Ends With Us production crisis. Subject: Lily's character arc, concerns. I get that Blake has her vision, but at the end of the day, we need a performance that sells. This isn't an Oscar drama, it's a commercial film. She needs to stop treating this like some indie art house project. If she can't handle the way we're telling this story, maybe we need to start thinking about contingency plans. It was bad enough that Baldoni had put his frustrations in writing. But the real dagger? The second paragraph. Frankly, if she walks, I wouldn't be heartbroken. We could use someone younger, someone who brings fresh energy to the role. Lily needs vulnerability, but she also needs youth. We can't ignore the optics. It wasn't just a creative dispute. It was an ageism scandal. The fallout was instant. Blake Lively's fans, already rallying behind her, erupted on social media. The hashtag too old for Lily trended worldwide within hours, as people slammed Baldoni for implying that a 36-year-old actress was too old to play a character who, in the novel, ages well into her late 20s. Even celebrities weighed in. Reese Witherspoon tweeted a cryptic message. "Women in Hollywood. The stories I could tell." Followed by a wine glass emoji. Florence Pugh commented on an Instagram post about the scandal, writing simply, "Oh wow. The things we hear behind closed doors." Even Taylor Swift, Lively's close friend, dropped a very well-timed Instagram story featuring a lyric from The Man. "If I was a man, then I'd be the man." The damage to Baldoni's reputation was instant. And just when it seemed like things couldn't get worse, a former co-star came forward with her own allegations. 3 days after the email leaked, actress Gina Rodriguez, who starred alongside Baldoni on Jane the Virgin, posted a statement on her Instagram story. It was subtle, but it was damning. "I've worked with Justin Baldoni. I've seen how he works. Let's just say, I'm not surprised." The message sent Hollywood into a frenzy. Rodriguez didn't elaborate. She didn't need to. The damage was already done. The whispers turned into open speculation. Was Baldoni difficult to work with? Had he dismissed female co-stars before? Had Lively's fight with him simply exposed something deeper? Under mounting pressure, Baldoni's team scrambled. The director released an official statement, attempting to contain the fire. "I have the utmost respect for Blake Lively as an actress and as a person. Any suggestion that I wanted her removed from the film is simply false. The comments in my email were taken out of context in a private conversation about studio logistics. I deeply regret any misinterpretation. It was classic Hollywood damage control. And it did not work. By this point, the film's reputation was in tatters. Studios were panicking. It Ends With Us was still in post-production, set for release in May 2025, but now? It wasn't just a film, it was a scandal. Would audiences support a movie tainted by controversy? Would Blake Lively even attend the premiere? And the biggest question of all, would the studio pull the film entirely? Whispers of reshoots and even a delayed release swirled through industry circles. Some executives feared that no matter how good the film was, it would forever be overshadowed by the feud. Meanwhile, Blake Lively remained silent. She hadn't responded publicly to the lawsuit. She hadn't addressed the leaked email. Until she did. On February 14, 2025, she posted a single, calculated Instagram photo. A black and white image of herself sitting in a chair. No caption. Just one thing written on the back of the chair. Director. Within minutes, fans exploded with theories. Was she taking over the film? Was she directing something else? Was this a declaration of war? One thing was clear. Blake Lively wasn't backing down. And in Hollywood, that was the real story. The lawsuits would rage on. The film's fate was still uncertain. But one thing was certain. This fight was far from over.